Good afternoon, everyone. I have 4:08, and I call this meeting to order of the Friendswood Downtown Economic Development Corporation. This is a special meeting, and we moved our meeting from last week, the regularly scheduled, to this week due to the induction of the new and returning city council members. So it is 4 o'clock, after 4 o'clock, and the meeting is called to order. We have 5 of us on the dais, which creates our quorum. It is public communication opportunity. Would anyone like to address the board? Seeing no opportunities for that, I close public communication. On the minutes, we are to consider the approval of the minutes of the Friendswood Downtown Economic Development Corporation meeting that was held on April the 14th, 2026. We've had an opportunity to read and study those. We've had an opportunity to read and study those, and are there any comments or questions?
Yes, there's an error in 3A, the minutes being held on March 17th rather than April, so the date is wrong.
Date is wrong on the last minutes. Thank you for noticing that, which would also make it wrong on our agenda today. So, no, that's not right.
No, it's correct here.
It's correct here.
It's just
It's correct
incorrect
here.
on the minutes themselves.
Okay,
I can see why St. Patrick's Day would be worth repeating, but it wasn't in fact correct.
correct. Thank you. Any other comments or corrections?
Move approval with that correction.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Motion by,
Mr. Cox.
thank you, it's been a long day. Mr. Cox and a second.
That's why I'm here.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And a second. So any other comments or questions? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Second. Any nays? Hearing none. The motion passed 5-0. This work session topic is to discuss the FDEDC secondary and open spaces. Aubrey, do you want to work on this one for us?
Yes. My pictures didn't come across in my presentation for some reason, but yeah, so I just wanted to give you a couple of updates. So the city is a member of the Texas Downtown. It's a statewide nonprofit organization that's been around for a lot of years that supports Main Street organizations and downtowns, either formal or informal downtowns, kind of like ours, but we're getting there. But there's been some activity that we've been participating in with that organization, and it just a few takeaways just to kind of get your wheels turning and maybe some ideas for the future. So there was a Texas Downtown webinar called More Than a Road, Transforming Corridors into Catalysts for Downtown Joy. We viewed that webinar here. Scott and Ron were able to come and view that with us. And I think the biggest takeaway from that webinar was the idea of maybe a secondary corridor, because we don't really have a lot of control over 518, and we've done our lighting and our sidewalks, but maybe highlighting a secondary corridor, which I was working on a map today, but I wish I was an architect so I could do cool maps, but I'm not that good. So I was looking at the downtown map as a whole. The only street in our downtown boundary that the full street is in the downtown is Laurel. And we kind of, after that webinar, we kind of talked about the possibility of Laurel being that secondary corridor, with the school being across the street. And then there are several businesses, new buildings going up on Laurel. Planning and Zoning Commission just approved the new building. So APA is at 403. We just approved 405 is going to be a new building. And then there's new buildings proposed down the way at like 305 to 311. It's 3 lots they're combining for another building. And he's planning on permitting that by the end of the year. So there's a lot of activity happening on Laurel. they're doing shared parking between those 3 businesses, and so they are gonna build a 6-foot sidewalk on the school side to connect those businesses. So
Are they commercial, are they retail?
so APA is retail with the wine bar. The 405, his construction office is upstairs, and he's gonna lease out the bottom floor for a retail boutique is going in there. And then the 311 to 305 is a mix, I think, of retail and office. So he was wanting, I think, to put maybe a few residential, like units in the very top, but I don't know that that's gonna happen. It's obviously very expensive, and all the fire marshal requirements kind of kick in with building separations. I think that development, I think, is gonna be 2 buildings, side by side. So anyway, there's just a lot of activity happening over there.
Is there anything that we as FDEDC need to do, change, move forward with to adopt that possibly as a secondary corridor? And what would that influence?
It's something that I can look into a little more and do some more brainstorming. I think project-wise, just making sure that we have complete sidewalks. If he builds a portion of that sidewalk, maybe we finish the sidewalk out, to each intersection, just to make that complete block. I kind of drove it today. I would say 90% of the sidewalks are in place, which kind of gets, so my next thing is, I attended the Texas Downtown Regional Roundtable in Georgetown. So one of their ideas in their downtown master plan, they just updated it in 2024. So they're establishing districts within their downtown. And when I was there, I was like, wow, it must be nice to have a downtown so big you can establish districts in it. But I got to thinking, like, our downtown is so long, and the whole thing is never going to be walkable. But I got to thinking, I'm like, well, what if we did establish little districts and concentrated on making smaller areas walkable? And then maybe, if we had a few pockets here and there that were walkable, then maybe one of these days there's, something that connects those 2 districts together. Like kind of taking it one bite at a time and concentrate on one area. Let's, get this little, and we don't have to name them, or we could, I don't know. It was just, kind of trying to think outside the box for our little downtown. I did, said maybe we can have the map next time if this is something we want to explore a little more. The Central Business District, so when Lauren Griffith was doing the downtown improvement plan, they kept talking about the heart of downtown was Spreading Oaks and 518. So if the blocks, like to the north or west of that, it's almost like original downtown or original town blocks. So if you kind of block that area off, like that would be a first area that we could concentrate on and identify, like the Heritage Gardeners are there, we have art, we have the public library, and we have proposed developments within that, when the 161 comes on board, 408. So all these, we have more businesses coming. So this one little area could really be walkable. Maybe Captain's Corner is another area, and then we have City Hall and Stevenson Park. So like I said, just maybe start thinking in those terms of districts and then connecting the districts.
Good thoughts. Thank you. Comments, questions? Ron?
Yeah, Scott and I were at that webinar, as well as Bubba. Bubba was there.
Oh, yeah, yes.
And one of the cities that, I believe it was Sherman, that the presentation on what Sherman had done is they had gone off of their main highway and created a place that could be used for public gatherings. And what it made me think of was Laurel, that we could, you know, that's the one street that we could literally develop and then block off if you wanted to have a festival there, if you wanted to have other kinds of pedestrian kinds of things. That's the one street that's available, that has lots available, open land available. There would be some logistics probably between the city and the school for that, the use of that open land, but there is open land there, and we could help develop that for festivals and other kinds of things, because we can't close 518. Well, we can, we do.
Parade, yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
advised.
We do, but, and it may always be the location for the parade, but the parade might gather on that side instead of by the Baptist church, you know, stage it on the opposite side, and then have a festival over there instead of at the end of, instead of at Stevenson Park, at the end of a parade. But I think it really gave me the opportunity, the webinar did, to kind of begin to think outside the box. I didn't do the Georgetown one, so I'm still trying to wrap my arms around your concept of districts in this small area, but at least the corridor is doing something with those. And what can we do? We can expand our sidewalks, but we can also do our streetlights off of 518, but continue the streetlight program in the whole district as opposed to just 518. And make sure that our signage extends over there as part of the downtown the branding signage as a part of that. And so I do think there's some opportunity there to begin to put some emphasis on the corridors outside or off of 518 Friendswood Drive.
Good. And the city and the schools have always been good to work together. So
Yeah.
I think we can,
I think you got there's some issues with the use of adult beverages.
there are, but
Yeah,
we might be able to figure that out.
yeah, somebody
You
can.
know,
Let me make sure I know what we're talking about. So Laurel runs parallel to 518, a block back to the corner of Fred Oaks where the old junior high.
Correct.
Back there, okay.
Yeah.
First question, who's established the definition of downtown to begin with? Was that us?
well, that was actually, go ahead, Ron.
Yeah, that was done when the district was created. So the district was defined land-wise
By whom?
by
City council.
city council.
Okay.
And then the vote was taken that this would be the downtown district.
Okay.
So I think Karen would tell us that a change in the district boundaries would have to be taken to a vote, would have to be
Right,
voted on by
but
the
it's
public.
way easy, by the public.
By the public.
Yes.
Yeah, not by the council.
Not by us or
It'd have to
council.
be voted on.
So it's just a
by the
little
public.
bit harder, but
Yeah,
Well, and when this board was created, it was tied to that downtown district boundary. So
Right.
the only place that you can spend your money is within that
understood. I
boundary.
get the part of it, it's
So,
financially
yeah.
tied one to the other. I think, annexing Laurel is a great idea, whether it takes
Well,
a,
It's already
It's already
in.
in
well,
there.
it's already in the district.
Yeah, we're
if it's already in
not,
the district, then it's already there. Declaring it a secondary corridor, I think
Correct.
it's just semantics.
Yeah.
However, it does
Yeah, I
bring
agree.
up a question of, because I mistakenly said annex, is the downtown district as big as it could be?
one of the things about trying to change the downtown district boundaries, it has to be voted on by all the voters. And if that happens, it also opens doors for the opportunities of the change of having a downtown district. Am I correct in that, Aubrey?
I'm not sure I understand what you're saying.
So two parts. We could expand the downtown district. So, and we have one property that we changed to downtown district that is out. We amended the boundary to include that one property. So city council can do that.
Oh,
So the boundary, it has been amended one time, but FDEDC dollars cannot be spent on anything in relation to that property.
okay.
Okay, so we could literally redraw the map, call it what we want to call it, paint it all orange, with the limitation of still being only money spent on the approved
Original,
original.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, originally,
so it doesn't really make any sense to do it.
the reason it was created to begin with is because at the time, downtown was going downhill, a lot of dilapidated buildings, and there was no identity. And that's why it was created to begin with, so that we could have some extra dollars to create an identity,
Yeah.
to kind of bring it back, and that's kind of why it was defined like it was.
Well, there may be a time, as the city continues to grow, that's annexing additional properties or what have you, may be something to discuss, but it doesn't sound like now.
I agree. I don't know that it's something we need to discuss now,
No.
but it definitely could be.
Yep.
But once again, it limits, we can't spend money on whatever we annex.
Understood.
But we can, work to have the city possibly pay for the extra lights or whatever, to make it feel more like a downtown, a part of the district, definitely.
But even the whole junior high property is included in our boundary as well. So, like I said, it's just, I think, thinking in a different way with what we already have. And maybe, like I said, if there's any public improvements, like finishing out sidewalks, just so that, we could have a complete walkable, block or two.
Or
And
district.
yeah. Yes. So in Georgetown, so they have the main square, and they have bollards in their roads. So for their second Saturday markets, they block off all the streets in the square. But one of their new districts that they've created is their Lights and Waterwork District. So it's a little plaza area off of the main square. So if people want to have a little bit smaller event, like, they don't have to block off the whole downtown, yet they have an outdoor stage, they have place for food trucks, to accommodate smaller events. It's along 9th Street, and so at the other end of 9th Street is their arts district. And in their plan is for 9th Street to become an art corridor. So they're like thinking decorative pavers, hanging lights and different things. So it's a whole new corridor created, connecting those two places. So like I said, it's a much bigger scale than I think but I think we could maybe take some ideas from that.
We
And
certainly could, and we're not restricted if we wanted to have pavers in the street on Laurel. We're not, that's a city street.
That was a text dot thing.
Yeah, that was a
Right.
TxDOT thing where we couldn't do some things on the street to define down the downtown area, where we can do whatever we want to on Laurel or whatever that street is over there. I can't
yeah,
remember.
or if we wanted like the crosswalks with the decorative, like
Correct.
we could do
Acorn
that.
design.
We can do
Yeah,
all of
like
that,
on
sort of
Laurel.
create that place.
Yeah,
By doing all of that over there, that we couldn't do here,
right.
yeah.
And the lacrosse field that the school district has, they've got that looking and that would just be, I was like, ooh, we could park food trucks down Colt, the little road, and
We could do that. We could
There's-
also park them in the circle. They're outside the
Border-
old new building.
Yeah.
What we call it.
yeah. So I know that property has come up a few times, even in our comprehensive plan, and future land use discussions, even with planning and zoning. So I think people kind of have their eye on that property, but, we do have a good working relationship with the school district, so, maybe something will come to.
When you say they're eye on, is there any eye on the use of that property or the eye on the purchase of that?
Just the use of the property. Everybody just kind of thinks it would be a good community space.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just, so the next point was, Tanya, the Texas Downtown sent out an email late last week, and the executive director had an article in there, and I'm sad that the picture didn't come across because it was great. But it basically was saying that downtowns are no longer, you're not competing with the malls anymore now that we have boutiques and online shopping, that you're competing with the couch. So creating spaces, public spaces, food halls, outdoor dining, night markets, public art, live music, festivals, all these, placemaking is, what's making downtown successful now.
Yeah, so I really like tactical placemaking. I like that term. Where we would be tactical about how we establish that place. And that's an open book over there. It's not like Friendswood Drive where we have to kind of accommodate ourselves to what it looks like. That's an open book we can do. And while I'm thinking about it, that takes me back to our original downtown plan. Did you all look for that or find that?
I was looking through the books today. There's a map in there of like the central business district or the original business district, but I think the pages were taken out of the plan. I'm sure they're scanned in somewhere, but I've got to find them.
Well, maybe Page Sutherland Page still has some copies of that. We hired the city, not the district, but the city hired an architect, landscape architect, and architect firm called Page Sutherland Page. In fact, the Banfields use Page Sutherland Page for their architecture as their architect company, but we hired them before Banfields did, I think, to do a downtown master plan. And it had the concept of using, what's the name of the street in front of Old City Hall?
Morningside?
Morningside. It had the concept of using Morningside as sort of the main street for a downtown master plan, and the public spaces would be off Morningside as it crosses 518 on both sides of 518. And that way use some of the public property on Morningside where the old library, where the where the activities building is, and that lot where the old city hall was and the finance building, all of that's city property. Utilize that for whatever may be as well. But I think we'd be well served to kind of take a look at that plan, just so that this group can see what was conceptualized back then. I understand that the fellow that drove that, whose name I've forgotten as well, it's only been 20 years. No, it's been longer than that.
I was going to say, that plan was older than that.
It is.
2004.
Yeah, so
There was pictures of council
22
chambers.
years.
They're black and white. They're just copies. The only person I really recognized was Kim Brizendine. But I'm sure there was a lot of people involved in that process.
yeah, it was a big community process, and there was a lot of discussion about it, but we just didn't have any financial ability to make it happen like we do now. So
I
think
have
we ought to see
two
that again.
4 or 5-inch binders of material from that study. It was a lot.
Would be very helpful and important to look at.
Yes.
So, we aren't out of the district business. You're speaking very well of how we can maybe create some.
Yeah.
And I was just in Conroe, and Conroe has a really cool area off their downtown, not on the main road, but with a, pavilion and,
Okay.
yeah, walkway and,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. So just, like I said, just wanted to throw out those ideas. Texas Downtown it's a good organization. I'm actually planning on going to the annual conference in November.
And that's where, in Austin? I would-
It's actually going to be in Amarillo. Way up north.
Fun.
Yes. My hometown, actually.
Is that Texas?
If it doesn't burn down first.
Yeah, let's
Ugh.
pray not.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a long way. Any other comments or questions? I really appreciate this. It's starting our next round of thinking, which is good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I can now envision Laurel with all those acorns going down the road.
It really was pretty neat when the light went on, for us,
I'll bet.
sitting there in the room. Scott, you got anything to add to that?
I wasn't at that. I think it was Bubba.
Oh,
It was
Bubba.
above.
I was at the
Okay.
Laporte one though, but
Okay.
I mean, I guess my insight is that that's a great organization. the ones I've gone to, I mean, best practices are shared, what, you know, at the Laporte, when they brought up the grants and what they were
Oh,
doing.
okay, I knew we talked about it.
Yeah, I mean, so it was, I just found that interesting because that was just a topic at our previous meeting, so. They have some cool topics and see what other people are doing, so.
Which, yeah, I think the grants thing would definitely be something to explore. I know it was, somebody submitted some drawings, some ideas about creating a little lighted, little seating area between the two buildings on Captain's Corner. I think FDFA may be exploring that, but if we could connect like a pedestrian walkway to get into Captain's Corner from the back, from that back way. I think it's just little projects like that, I think are gonna make our downtown special, so.
I agree. Luis Briones had talked to me about that.
Okay.
And, yeah, about how cool that would be to have the hanging lights going back and forth and tables.
Kind of got an alley through
He
there.
does,
That
he
would-
does.
Yeah,
And part of it's covered, so if you had to get out of the rain, you could quickly.
yes.
Well, and as a connector to Laurel, that's
Yep,
perfect,
Yeah.
perfect.
walkway.
Yeah.
Good point, good point. And there's not terrible parking at the old junior high, so, that would open some doors too. Anything else that we'd like to discuss about these? Thank you.
You're welcome.
Moving on, let's see our report for downtown projects, please.
So City Council approved the $625,483.26 for the payment to Comcast for the line removal. They are, no start date available just yet. They also authorized the $53,000 to AT&T for the additional design. They expect 6 to 8 weeks for the completed design and cost. And staff continues to work with Verizon for removal, cost, and timetable.
Comments?
Yeah,
Questions?
just for edification, Aubrey, would you talk about the city council process that is in place? I know Stephen sent out an email that said that agenda item, that item A there had been removed from the consent agenda for further discussion, and I don't think he gave a full explanation about the policy that's in place on why and how those things occur. So could you just talk about that a little bit?
Yes.
So that everybody will know.
Yeah, so everything on the consent agenda can be approved with one motion and second and vote by city council. So all of those items are usually business items that are pretty straightforward, and they're not discussed individually. But if any council member wants to discuss an individual item, they can make a motion to remove that item from the consent. And so everything else is then approved, and then that item is discussed.
And that's what happened that Monday night. The council member, one of the council members had asked that this item be removed from the consent agenda for further discussion.
And
It raised a flag.
Hey, well, I asked, does it just take one? And Stephen
Yes.
responded, yep, just one guy,
Just one
that's all
guy.
it takes. And
Yeah.
it's this particular guy who's apparently does this a lot.
Yeah.
And his concern was if we proceed with Comcast, then what are the chances of AT&T and Verizon, like the cost just being so extreme that we wouldn't move forward with the others? But we've already, we expended money for one. We kind of have to do all three
He just
now.
wanted to make sure that they would all be done.
Right,
Yep.
yeah.
And he was asking, why not wait until you get bids from everybody, and then no one is playing off the other for finances, which was a good question. Sure. But we had really already kind of vetted that whole process, and ultimately, Stephen, Paul and I and Bubba attended the meeting. Well, Rebecca was there as well, attended the meeting, and ultimately, the questions were answered, and we got a unanimous vote for it. So just had to go through a little additional process there.
If we wait, I mean, there's always the potential of the, the 625,000, maybe that price increases, so.
It will.
Yeah, so,
Well, and he also kind of wanted them all to come down at the same time.
Right, which
But
is
that won't-
Yeah,
very.
that wasn't a pretty picture, but
you can't have them all out there at the same time.
yeah, so, yeah. We've done other projects in the downtown in a phased approach, removing overhead power lines, so,
we can do this.
yeah.
So have you had any discussion with Comcast about the when?
I have not, I've not.
That's what I was wondering. So have they been notified that we approved it, or?
Stephen takes care of all that.
Okay.
Sorry.
We'll have Stephen get something out as soon as
I'm
he's back.
I'm sure next month we'll have a better, hopefully a better idea.
Thank you.
You're
Moving on. Permanent lighting.
Let's see, so staff and vendor coordination complete for installation. Installation to begin in June with approximately 2 weeks for completion. And facilities included are City Hall, Library, and Senior Activity Building. So this is the
Decorative,
decorative lights in the
soffits,
tracks,
whatever
yes.
you want to call it.
yes. So in June, so yeah, maybe by the 4th of July,
That'd be nice.
yes.
They are programmable.
And then downtown light, pole and light removal, identified additional Tex Mexico fixtures to be removed. Stones throws, Shadow Bend, in between Comerica and First Baptist Church, Friendswood Drive, and 802 Oak. Those are pending, so I guess the ones that are marked out,
802 Oak. That's random. Those are out of district. Is that out of district?
That's just across the street,
Is that
isn't
that
it?
oak?
That's right over here.
those
Yeah,
are,
that little
that's.
Right across from the park. I
That's,
believe that is.
that's just 1 through 8, Oak Tree is the name of that.
Oh, okay, not Oak. Oak
Yeah.
Tree. Thank you.
So,
Oak's in my neighborhood.
Friends,
Holly Ranch.
Yeah.
yeah, Oak is
Yeah, it's,
like down off,
Across from the park.
Oak is in Polly Ranch.
yes.
Oak Tree is the one this
Right
is,
here.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah, thank you.
but like I said, those addresses are 1 through 8, Oak Tree.
Just need some clarification on
Yeah.
what that really is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. And so we're still pending on all those locations.
Yes, yes. And then the downtown whole, the older fixtures that the property owners installed. So some of them have been removed, and we have 6 active requests for removal. I think the ones with red lines were, so maybe the yellow highlighted ones, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One, two.
Maybe we could have Stephen just send out some clarification
Sorry, he
on
just-
that map.
He left this for me.
I know, he did.
We didn't even talk about it. So I apologize. I'm not
you're
very prepared
fine.
today.
You are fine.
too.
You're doing great. We appreciate you.
So 5 properties have actually removed those old poles? Is that what that's saying?
Yes.
Yes,
They're already gone.
Yes.
yes.
And then 6 more have requested that they be removed. That's really pretty good. 11
Well,
properties.
6 more we've asked for,
Yeah, I
But
think,
we've asked.
yes, they're active requests.
Okay, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
If I read that map right, the
Yeah,
5
you're
yellow
right.
ones were those 5,
Yeah,
and
you're
the red ones are the ones,
Been removed.
okay, so the yellow highlighted ones are the ones that have been removed.
does the math.
The red marks were all the original locations, so yellow had been removed. So the red one, just the red lines are remaining.
Oh, I see them
Okay.
Which the ones at Hassan's building were hiding in the trees, but they just trimmed the trees, just like, oh, there they are. Yes.
Okay.
So we will keep working on that.
That makes sense.
So the business report, so we have new businesses, so PowerFit Eats, at 214 South Friendswood Drive, got their final certificate of occupancy. Lucas and Lucas at 107 Shadwell, and LPCS Counseling and Consulting on Shadwell. Everell Boutique at 607 South Friendswood, Suite 19, and Ascend Solutions at 311 South Friendswood Drive. Downtown District events, we have Friendswood, Parks and Recreation has the Concert in the Park series starting at, or I think it's already been 2 weeks. We had to cancel the first one. I don't know if Friday night's looking too good with weather this weekend, but, and then, yeah, 7 p.m. Friday nights all summer long.
All summer long? I thought they ended like right before July 4th.
I think they switched to,
I mean, and I'm asking for clarity.
yeah,
They may have extended it.
June 26th is the last one.
June 26th, okay.
Aubrey's getting all beat up.
Well, they switched to movies in the park after,
Correct.
yeah,
They do.
okay.
So that was an accurate statement. I just read it wrong.
The financial report, so beginning fund balance is $3,435,451. Revenue for April was $80,547. Expenditures for April was $899. The staff services, $1,333. So ending fund balance for April was $3,513,767. And an unencumbered fund balance of $3,417,241.
So the encumbered funds are the ones that we've had recently approved by city council.
Yes.
Got it. Well done, guys.
So we still have not reviewed expenditure to the city, that number there, 1333. We've asked about several times. It was put off as a agenda item for the city budget or some other discussion. Last time Sally was here to address it, but it's been several months. Happy to have the right answer before we move forward, but yeah, I personally would like an answer. You guys are being underpaid, I promise you, based on inflation and everything else, as far as this board is concerned. So I really would like to see
Some response on that.
some response, even if
Yeah.
it's just adjusted for inflation. I mean, just
Correct.
an easy math problem.
Okay.
Is that
Because you're in the budget process right now, aren't you?
Yes. Yeah. Okay,
Thank you.
I'll make that note. You're welcome.
So, roughly, I guess looks like it's gonna be about $1 million to remove those poles and wires by the time.
From Comcast or from everybody?
680 from Comcast, so it's gonna be at least $1 million,
Oh,
We were thinking.
we were thinking.
Are you thinking up to
It's going to
2?
be more than
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
AT&T's probably going to be $1.5 million.
You think that, oh, okay, I'm sorry.
That's my
Yeah.
guess.
Okay, never mind. Then I was thinking if it was just gonna be $1 million, then we ought to figure out what's next for the other two. But do you all think it's prudent just to wait till we get all those costs in before we start committing anything else at this point?
I think before we start to commit, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, that doesn't mean we can't think, but before we commit.
There's this train of thought running around out in the community that we don't have much more to do
Oh,
as an organization, and that this sales tax could go away, but we know that not to be the case. But how do we build that case of what else is out there and financially that needs to be done to improve the district.
Well, and I hear you. And I think there is still quite a bit to be done. And if we start to look at the districts and we start to look at what we can do on Laurel, and we also, look at ways that we can support other parts of the downtown district, I think we may find more projects. I also would really like to pursue the idea of grants. I think that's something that we might be able to help some of the community, some of the businesses downtown. Don't know what that looks like and don't legally know what it's going to be. But one of the things that I would like to emphasize is that by what we're doing downtown with the money we have, it's freeing up what we're doing with sales tax dollars. It's freeing up city dollars to go do other things. In other words, let's just take the Christmas as an example. The Parks Department did not have to spend that money for all the beautiful Christmas decorations that we were able to go ahead and do, which allowed them to use their money in other areas of the city and other parts of the city. And so to me, it's kind of a domino that what we're doing in this district is impacting other parts of the city indirectly, but our dollars are then being able to be stretched and used other places.
Well, I think the distinction is important too, Rebecca, especially since it's taxpayer or property tax dollars versus revenue from our friends in League City and Webster and
Exactly.
Alvin and everyone that passes through. So it's truly an opportunity to do all those things without impinging the taxpayer really beyond what they're going to spend in the downtown district anyway. Right. But we're getting money from people who live all over the place.
Exactly.
And the better we do, the more people come to spend their money from all over the place. So I understand what you're saying too, like what more can they do? They got the orange signs now, where do they go? But I also agree that there's so much more that we haven't even imagined yet.
Yeah.
Right. It's not just what we haven't imagined, but there's still projects on the books too. What we haven't done lately is gone back and looked at, Stephen used to put a slide up that showed all of our project budgets and all of those as we were whittling away. We might need to just look at those every month and kind of see what those are again, so that we don't.
Yeah, and they were
lose sight.
prioritized as well.
Right.
Yeah, and-
We went through that drill. We spent a workshop
Right.
doing that.
We did.
Yeah, and now we're beginning to add at least some thought to the corridor, the Laurel, and developing that. I don't think that's in the budget, none of that. So we'd need to add some, if the board saw fit to do that, we'd need to develop a budget for that.
Well,
Well.
and just the conversation that you all had about the corridors and the districts and expanding other things, that's opening us to think about other ways
Right.
of what is needed in the downtown district and the walkability and all of those.
Yeah, but one of the reasons we haven't really looked at future projects, we've been mainly focused on what we have here.
Right.
Now that's coming to a closure, so we can probably start
Yeah.
looking at other projects now.
And some people are thinking that because that's coming to a close, there's nothing left.
Correct.
So
And
let's give the money back.
Well, I think
You
that
know,
if you
well,
sat
that's
down
not
with-
true, yeah.
If you sat down with Parks and Rec, there's a long list of things they would want to do at Stevenson Park they don't have a budget for.
Right.
But we do.
yeah,
So it's just like the Christmas trees in Stevenson Park. That's a Parks and Rec area, but my goodness, you could spend that whole extra $1 million over there if you wanted to.
Heck, yeah.
Right next door.
Yeah, I mean,
In
easily.
that empty
Do something with that
lot.
parking lot that we've talked about for
Yeah,
years and years and
yeah,
years.
absolutely.
So it doesn't have to be in the plan, but I agree with all of you, we should address everything in the plan before we get too,
well, but
Too distracted by-
sometimes things get, you want to get them in an order that is best for the city. And sometimes it does involve things that aren't in the plan, but you're right.
Yep.
You're right. And I would encourage for us as well to go out and look at the story map that Aubrey created on the city website about the downtown district, because it really tells the story of what's been happening downtown, how the decisions have been made, what we're doing in the process, and future things to think about. So that story map is well done, Aubrey. I appreciate you doing that a lot.
You're welcome. Thank you.
That reminds me too, the downtown event that we had, you guys did an excellent job. Have we met since then? I'm trying to remember.
No,
But
I
it was,
don't think
it was
so.
outstanding, and it was so well received by people from surrounding communities that were here too, so that was kudos.
And that's online too, isn't it, somewhere?
It was recorded on YouTube, yes,
On YouTube?
on our YouTube channel. Yes.
Great. Good. So I appreciate you bringing that up, Ron, very much. And all of the encouraging ideas that we may have for down the road. Any other comments or questions? We have come to adjourn. The next regularly scheduled FDEDC meeting is Tuesday, June the 9th at 4 o'clock. As the summer approaches, quorums may become a little bit more difficult, so we'll keep you posted as to whether or not they'll be held, but that is the next regularly scheduled meeting. Comments, questions as we close?
Good job. Good job, Ms. Chairman.
Well, thank you for that, but it's a team effort, guys. Everybody contributes. People give me names. People keep me moving forward, and I appreciate it all. Thank you. With that, we have a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second. Okay, we have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thank you. We are adjourned.
Very good.